Welcome back to Your World. We're still joined by Tino Bere, who is a lawyer and human rights activist, and he's joining us via Skype from Zimbabwe. Mr. Bere, thank you very much for joining us again. We've sorted out our sound issues. I just want to go back to what I had asked you earlier on, saying, do ordinary Zimbabweans, especially those in the opposition, feel welcomed by this new dispensation?
The general mood is that of believing and giving the new head of state a chance. Those in the opposition may have been confused by the different signals coming from some in the ruling party, but the message today was consistent in it embracing all the people and certainly dealing with regret about past poor political conduct.
Now, Mr. Bere, in terms of the excitement that we've seen over the days, I mean, initially when Mugabe resigned, there was a lot of excitement all over as well as celebration. What happens after? Has the reality of what has happened settled in?
The excitement is still there, and even some of the skeptics are waiting to see how the government will be shaped, the cabinet, and to see the performance in the next few months. So I think the positive mood will be with us for a little while longer until maybe something goes wrong or disappointment sets in.
I want us to go back to Mnangagwa's address. Do you think he addressed all Zimbabweans without prejudice?
I think he did. His speech was broad enough to cover everyone, and he picked all the key points, avoided going into too much detail as would fear controversy. So he has whetted the appetite. I think people will be waiting to see what in each of the areas he identified he's going to do.
Now, speaking of what he's promised to do, part of that was that his administration would come down hard on corruption. Can he be trusted to deliver on this, or is it too early to tell?
For all the criticisms he has suffered, he has tended to be given credit for being tough in terms of supervision. So I think if he says something will be done, it is likely to be done.
Now, on human rights, we know that several people were apprehended when the whole Zimbabwe rebirth military intervention erupted. Do we know where they are and if they are being treated fairly?
I think if there's been a great concern, it has been the lack of transparency in respect of any arrest and any intended prosecution. There's just rumors. Nobody really knows exactly what has been happening.
Let's look at Zimbabwe in this new phase. I mean, something that we can't ignore is the economic situation that the country currently faces. What can we expect to see going forward in terms of getting back foreign direct investment, for example, as well as just, confidence from the rest of the world as well?
Some of the things he spoke about them, I think the issue of elections, the issue of hate politics, the issue of past wrongs, recognition of that. But some of the things were not spoken about at all. The issue of repressive laws and the general environment. If he does not address the governance environment, it will be difficult to get the confidence of the world. But right now, there is serious goodwill from across the world, and we can ride on that by making the correct decisions, the correct reforms to build the correct environment.
Now, just finally, Mr. Bere, a good way to wrap up would be to look at what Zimbabweans need to focus on at this point in time, just beyond looking at government.
I think beyond looking at government, the Zimbabweans themselves need to have the same confidence as their government to begin to work and invest in this one environment. Most of us stopped investing because we had lost confidence. So we can't expect the world to come back to invest in our country when we are putting our money under the pillows because we have no confidence.
Mr. Bere, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us on SABC News. That was Tino Bere, a lawyer and human rights activist in Zimbabwe. He joined us via Skype from Mutare, Zimbabwe.